You've got big dreams. We all do, right? The thought of financial freedom, of building something real, a legacy, not just for you, but for those who depend on you. Heck, maybe you've already started down that path. You've got a plan. You've read the books, followed the gurus, set your goals, and yet, somehow, you're still not where you want to be. Maybe you're stuck in the same cycle, running on the hamster wheel of hustle, trying to make it work but always falling just short. And then, you see someone else, someone who seems to have it all figured out. Maybe it's that friend who's bought a house without a second thought, or that colleague who's posting about their stock portfolio on Instagram, all while you're over here, just hoping your checking account doesn't dip into the red again. It's frustrating, right? Here's the thing. It's not because they're luckier than you. It's not because they're smarter, or they've got some kind of financial superpower. It's because they're not making the same mistakes you're making. In fact, it's possible they're not doing something that most people do. A thing that, if you stop doing it today, could change the whole trajectory of your life. But what is it? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into. Stick with me, because what I'm about to share might just be the game changer you've been looking for. My name is Nick, and I spend a lot of time thinking about money, how we handle it, and why some people seem to glide through financial challenges, while others just can't catch a break. I've read all the books, attended the seminars, and helped others along their financial journeys. And let me tell you, I've noticed something very, very interesting. The people who manage to build real wealth, they stop doing certain things. And for the rest of us? Well, we keep doing them. That's why we're not where we want to be financially. If you've ever looked at your bank account and felt like there's a mountain to climb, or if you've wondered why your savings aren't growing as quickly as you think they should, you're in the right place. Today, I'm going to share why some of these normal things are actually holding you back from hitting that $1 million mark. And no, it's not about working harder or longer. It's about breaking a cycle that most people don't even realize they're trapped in. Once you learn to avoid this, the path to financial success won't feel so distant anymore. So, let's get into it. The thing that most people do, that you might be doing too, that's keeping you from the $1,000 mark. It's not about overspending. It's not about debt. It's not even about poor financial decisions, really. It's something a bit more subtle. It's about playing small. Yes, you heard me right. It's about playing small. So many of us get caught in the trap of staying in our comfort zones. We don't take the risks that could actually push us forward. We keep playing by the rules, sticking to what feels safe, and that's why we never make it to the big leagues. I know, taking risks can sound scary, especially if you've worked hard to build what you have. But hear me out. Playing small is like having a dream, but never taking the steps to really chase it. It's like wanting to run a marathon but only jogging around the block. Imagine a chessboard for a second. You could move your pawn one square at a time, and sure, you'll eventually get somewhere. But the player who thinks like a king or queen, who sees the entire board, is the one who wins the game. So, let's talk about how you can start thinking and acting like the person who gets the $1 million prize, instead of staying stuck on the sidelines. Let me take you back to a time when you had big dreams. I'm talking about when you first decided to become financially independent. The vision was clear. You wanted to buy a house, travel the world, invest smartly, or just live without the constant stress of bills piling up. And yet, year after year, your bank account looks the same. Why? Because you've been stuck playing the safe game. Not that there's anything wrong with playing it safe. In fact, in some situations, it's necessary. But here's the problem. Financial freedom, that elusive $1 million mark, is not a safe game. It's a game of big moves. Imagine that chessboard again, but this time, you're thinking a few steps ahead. You're no longer just moving your pawns. You're planning your queen's attack, your knight's next big leap, and your rook's straight line. And that's exactly what we need to do in life. Financial freedom doesn't come by making safe moves, it comes by taking risks that are smart, calculated, and big. So, what's stopping you? Most of us have this idea that in order to be wealthy, We need a lot of money to start with. But here's the catch. The key to wealth is actually in your mindset. Millionaires don't just think about money differently. They view the world differently. They don't look at a paycheck as the only source of income. They don't see real estate as a one-off investment. They see opportunities everywhere. For instance, I once had a conversation with a friend who made a fortune not by flipping houses, but by buying up small, overlooked properties and renting them out. And no, they didn't start with millions in the bank. They started small, but they thought big. They knew what they were doing, they were patient, and they kept scaling up. That's how the wealthy think, and it's something you can start doing too. It's not just about spending money. It's about investing it. Not just in stocks or real estate, but in yourself. Investing in your skills, your knowledge, your experiences. You might be thinking, I don't have the time or the resources for that. But let me tell you, the wealthiest people make the time. They invest in learning about new ways to build wealth. And that doesn't necessarily mean going back to school for a fancy degree. Sometimes, it's as simple as reading, listening to podcasts, or finding people who are already where you want to be, and learning from them. Now, let's get into the meat of it. Calculated risks. You've got to stop playing it safe if you want to break free from the cycle. But what do I mean by calculated risks? It's the difference between gambling and investing. Gambling is throwing your money into something you don't understand and hoping it works out. Investing is about knowing exactly what you're getting into. You don't just take risks, you take educated risks. For example, let's say you're thinking about starting a business. Instead of diving headfirst without a plan, you research the market, understand your competition, and develop a strategy. Maybe you even take on a partner who has more experience than you. This is a calculated risk. You've thought it through, you've weighed the pros and cons, and now you're ready to go. But let's be clear, there's no way around the fact that you'll have to get comfortable with failure. It's part of the journey. In those who have made it to the $1 million mark, they don't see failure as something to avoid, they see it as a learning opportunity. So how do you go from small to big? It's a process, and it starts with mindset. You need to look at every opportunity with the eyes of someone who has already achieved their financial goals. Ask yourself, what would a millionaire do? Would they let fear hold them back, or would they see it as a stepping stone to something greater? In reality, becoming a millionaire is not about the fancy cars, the private jets, or the lifestyle that social media shows us. It's about making decisions that get you closer to your goal. It's about learning the difference between instant gratification and delayed gratification. Most people go after short-term pleasures. A new phone, a night out, something that feels good, right now. But millionaires? They delay gratification. They invest their money wisely and patiently, knowing that what they're building will pay off in the long run. Imagine planting a tree. At first, it's just a small sapling. You water it, you take care of it, but you can't expect to see the fruits of your labor right away. You have to wait, but when that tree starts to bear fruit, it's a beautiful thing. It's the same with your finances. It's about making small, calculated decisions today that will pay off down the road. Look, I'm not here to tell you that the road to $1 million is easy, but I am here to tell you that it's absolutely possible. And if you stop playing small, if you start taking those calculated risks, if you change the way you think about money, your financial future will look very different. The $1 million mark, it's not as far away as you think. It's not about being lucky or smarter than the next person. It's about making smarter decisions, taking risks, and thinking bigger than you ever have before. So, are you ready to make that change? Ready to stop doing the things that are keeping you stuck? You've got this. Let's start building together.